Good morning, our beloved active senior supervisor, Mr. Hanafi, Mr. Rida, our supervisor. Dear supervisors and all teachers, thank you for this opportunity to participate with you. We are St. Mark English staff and we will talk about the importance of the lesson plan and the steps of the lesson plan. Number one, what is a lesson plan? Lesson plan is a teacher's daily guide for what students need to learn, how it will be taught, and how learning will be measured. Lesson plans help teachers be more effective in the classroom by providing a detailed outline to follow each class period.
How to make a lesson plan. Making an effective lesson plan takes time and an understanding of your students' goals and abilities. The goal, as with all teaching, is to motivate the students to take in what you are teaching and to retain as much as possible. So, my dear colleagues, we will provide some ideas that will help you get the most out of your class. Method 1. Creating the basic structure. Number 1. Know your objective. At the beginning of every lesson, write your lesson plan goal at the top. It should be simple, something like students will be able to identify different animal body structures that enable eating, breathing, and moving. If you are working with very young students, you may have more basic aims like improving reading or writing skills. Number 2, write your overview. Use broad strokes to outline the big ideas for the class. This depends on the length of your class. Number 2, write your overview. Use broad strokes to outline the big ideas for the class. This depends on the length of your class.
Plan your timeline. If there is a lot to cover in a fixed amount of time, break your plan into sections that you can speed up or slow down to accommodate changes as they happen. We will use a 1-hour class as an example. The first 10 minutes warm up. Bring a class into focus and recap yesterday's discussion on great tragedies. Relate it to Hamlet. The second 15 minutes present information. Discuss Shakespearean history briefly, focusing on his creative period 2 years before and after Hamlet. The second 15 minutes guided practice. Class discussion regarding major themes in the play. The third 15 minutes free practice. It's single paragraph describing current event in Shakespearean terms individually. Encourage bright students to write 2 paragraphs and coach slower students. The last 5 minutes. Number 4. Get to know your students. Identify clearly who you are going to educate. What's their learning style? Visual, auditory, tactile, or a combination? What might they already know and where might they be? Focus your plan to fit the overall group of students you have in a class, and then make modifications as necessary to account for students with disabilities, those who are struggling or unmotivated, and those who are gifted. Odds are you will be working with a pile of extroverts and introverts. Some students will benefit from working alone while others will thrive in pair work or in groups. Knowing this will help you format activities to different interaction preferences. You will also wind up having a few students that know just about it as much as you do on the topic, and some that, while smart, look at you like you are speaking. If you know who these kids are, you will know how to pair them up and divide them.
Number 5. Use multiple student interaction patterns. Some students do well on their own, others in pairs, and yet others in big groups. So long as you are letting them interact and build off each other, you are doing your job. But since each student is different, try to allow opportunities for all types of interaction. Your students will be better for it. Really, any activity can be done separately, in pairs, or in groups. If you have ideas already mapped out, see if you can revamp them to all to mix it up.
Number 6. Address a variety of learning style. You are bound to have some students that can't sit through a 25 minutes video and others who can't be bothered to read a 2 pages except from a book. Neither is dumber than the other, so do them a service by switching up your activities to utilize every student's abilities. Every student learns differently. Some need to see the information, some need to hear it, and others need to literally get their hands on it. If you have spent a great while talking, stop and let them talk about it. If they have been reading, come up with a hands-on activity to put their knowledge to use. They all get less bored too.